The story unfolds with Jibong Kim, the protagonist, diligently working his part-time job at the GU convenience store. Engaged in his duties, he scans items with the barcode scanner and communicates prices to customers. As one customer completes their purchase, Kim courteously bids them farewell, inviting them to return. At 20 years old, Kim is a college student balancing his studies with part-time employment, content with his ordinary existence. However, beneath his outward composure, Kim wrestles with a sense of dissatisfaction. Reflecting on his life's trajectory, he wears a somber expression, acknowledging his discontent. Seated on the floor, counting coins, he questions the appeal of such a mundane existence. Gazing out of the store's glass window, Kim observes the unchanging scenery, feeling trapped in a monotonous routine. His sigh speaks volumes about his boredom and weariness with daily life. As he lingers by the window, his phone interrupts the silence with a message notification. Retrieving his phone, Kim discovers a message from his mother inquiring about his activities. Opening the message from his mother, Kim responded promptly, informing her that he was currently on his shift at the store. Curious, he inquired if there was something she wanted to discuss. His mother, noting that it was his payday, requested he bring home some fried chicken. Kim grinned, realizing his payday had slipped his mind, yet his mother was more attentive to it. Assenting to her request, he promised to purchase both marinated and regular fried chicken on his way back. In a subsequent message, Kim's mother expressed a preference for the soy sauce variety over the regular fried. Playfully, Kim responded with a hot mouth emoji. As they chatted, a sudden loud noise jolted Kim, causing his phone to slip from his grasp. Startled, he peered outside, wondering about the source of the disturbance. Without hesitation, he hurried toward the door to investigate the commotion. Opening the store door to investigate, Kim's thoughts raced as he processed the deafening noise resembling an explosion. To his disbelief, a colossal monster wreaked havoc upon the city, leaving destruction in its wake. Overwhelmed by the devastation, Kim fled onto the road, only to find the cityscape engulfed in flames and rubble. Staring up at the towering monsters and ruined buildings, he struggled to comprehend the surreal scene unfolding before him. Doubt gnawed at his mind as he questioned the reality of the situation. However, as the chaos unfolded around him, Kim's apprehension mounted. Hearing a noise behind him, he turned to find more monstrous figures advancing toward him. Fear gripped him, and instinctively, he knew he had to escape. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Kim sprinted away from the impending danger, his thoughts in disarray as he grappled with the inexplicable appearance of the monsters and the devastation they brought. As Kim sprinted away, panic gripping every step, he stumbled and crashed onto the unforgiving pavement. Pain seared through his body as he lay injured, bewildered by his sudden fall. Glancing upward, he realized he had tripped over something, a cruel twist of fate amidst the chaos. His heart raced as he dared to look behind, only to be met with a horrifying sight. His legs severed from his body. Shock engulfed him as he grappled with the gruesome reality before him. Gasping for breath, blood spewed from his mouth, staining the ground beneath him. With each agonizing moment, he felt his strength ebbing away. Helpless, he turned his head to confront the monstrous presence looming behind him, its tentacles quivering with an ominous purple glow. Dazed and delirious, Kim watched in horror as one of the tentacles, now tainted with his blood, seemed to reach out towards him. As his lifeblood ebbed away, he uttered curses into the void before succumbing to darkness. Amid his fading consciousness, a sudden ring pierced the silence, heralding the activation of humanity's awakening program. As Kim lay unconscious on the road, another window appeared before him, announcing the initiation of the awakening trial in a robotic voice. Stirring from his daze, he lifted his head, only to collide with the hard ground once more. In his prone state, the concept of an awakening trial bewildered him. Suddenly, his sliced body began to convulse, bathed in a radiant light. Unconsciousness enveloped him as his surroundings transformed into a holographic room. Moments later, he jolted into consciousness within the holographic space, bewildered and disoriented. His gaze fell upon his miraculously restored legs, prompting a shudder of disbelief. Seated amidst the holographic environment, Kim struggled to make sense of the bewildering events that had transpired. Attempting to orient himself, he rose to his feet, only to be greeted by a notification welcoming him to the awakening zone. Confusion etched across his features. He pondered the mysterious voice and the purpose of this new realm. Perplexed, he questioned the nature of the holographic room and his current predicament. Fear gnawed at him as he grappled with the uncertainty of his surroundings and the inexplicable transformation of his body. Yet, before he could gather his thoughts, another notification materialized, heralding the commencement of the awakening trial. Instantly, a monstrous adversary materialized behind him, its presence accompanied by a deafening roar. Startled, Kim turned to confront the creature, only to be confronted by yet another message detailing the mechanics of the trial. Trembling with apprehension, he struggled to comprehend the directive to engage in combat with the imposing monster. As the creature loomed menacingly before him, Kim recoiled in fear, realizing the imminent danger. With a swiftness born of desperation, he braced himself for the monster's attack, shielding his face with trembling hands as the creature's claw descended upon him. The rush of wind and the sheer force of the strike sent him reeling backwards, his mind consumed by thoughts of impending doom. As the monstrous claw descended upon him, Kim's world went dark as he felt the crushing force of impact against the unforgiving ground. Dust and debris filled the air, obscuring his vision as he lay motionless. A notification window flashed before him, declaring his failure in the awakening trial. Despair engulfed him as he realized the consequences of his defeat. However, hope flickered anew as another message promised the regeneration of his body. With a gasp, Kim witnessed his body reconstructing before his very eyes, marveling at the miraculous restoration. Yet, his wonderment turned to horror as he beheld the remnants of his former self, blood, and crushed body parts strewn nearby. Terror seized him as he grappled with the grim reality of his mortality. Clutching a severed hand in disbelief, nausea washed over him, eliciting violent retching as he struggled to comprehend the limits of regeneration. Meanwhile, the looming presence of the monster loomed closer, its intent clear. With trembling limbs and tears streaming down his face, Kim stared up at the approaching threat, paralyzed by fear. As the monster roared, Kim's instincts kicked in, propelling him into a desperate flight. Yet, his efforts were futile as the creature's tentacles slashed through the air, severing his head from his body in a cruel finality. Lying broken and defeated, Kim wept as his body thudded to the ground once more, his anguish echoing in the empty void. But the cycle repeated as the notification window promised another chance at redemption through body regeneration. Standing once more, Kim gazed upon his reformed form in astonishment. Yet, the looming presence of the monster served as a haunting reminder of his perpetual struggle. With uncertainty gnawing at his resolve, Kim braced himself for the impending confrontation, his heart heavy with dread. As Kim grappled with the reality of his situation, a notification window shattered his hopes of defeating the monster. Another message followed, revealing the creature's classification as a transcendent tier entity, rendering it impervious to his attacks. Stunned and disheartened, Kim's gaze shifted between the notification window and the approaching monster, his teeth clenched in fear and frustration. Summoning his courage, Kim demanded answers, questioning the purpose of his presence in this enigmatic realm and the identity of those responsible for his predicament. In response, the notification explained that he was in a designated testing area for the awakening trial, designed to ensure fairness. Bewildered, Kim struggled to comprehend the significance of his repeated deaths and regenerations, his surroundings littered with the remnants of his previous failures. Further notifications affirmed humanity's potential for awakening and outlined the conditions for completing the trial. Despite his skepticism, Kim was assured that his body would be regenerated, regardless of the number of times he perished. Bitterness seeped into his thoughts as he contemplated the notion of his life being treated like a video game. Yet, amid the uncertainty and despair, Kim found himself resigned to his fate. Despite the lack of choice, he knew he had to press on, driven by a glimmer of hope amidst the despair. With a heavy heart and a somber expression, he braced himself for the next phase of his trial, knowing that the path ahead would be fraught with peril and uncertainty. As the monstrous magic ball hurtled towards him, Kim braced for impact, only to be engulfed in the ensuing explosion. Despite the searing pain, he emerged from the wreckage, bathed in a radiant light, signaling his awakening success. His stats and abilities materialized before him, marking his transformation into a formidable player within this digital realm. With newfound strength and determination, Kim charged towards the monster, his fists primed for combat. Ignoring the agony of his past failures, he unleashed a devastating blow upon the creature, shattering its form and completing the awakening trial. Amidst the debris, a wave of relief washed over Kim as the notification of his success echoed through the chamber. Grinning with satisfaction, he basked in the congratulatory messages, his spirits lifted by the validation of his efforts. With the quest completed and a new ability obtained, Kim's body glowed with a pulsating light, signaling his imminent return to the real world. Yet, as the wavy light enveloped him, he hesitated, a lingering uncertainty clouding his thoughts. Summoning his courage, Kim demanded answers from the unseen forces orchestrating his ordeal. His voice echoed through the holographic room, a plea for release from this surreal trial. Though met with silence, he remained steadfast, determined to unravel the mysteries surrounding his awakening and reclaim his freedom. As Kim grappled with the notifications of errors preventing his escape, panic surged within him. Despite his pleas for clarity, the unseen forces persisted in initiating another round of the awakening trial. As the monstrous adversary loomed before him once more, Kim's confusion deepened. He questioned the futility of his predicament, unable to comprehend the relentless cycle of death and regeneration. Each attack from the monster inflicted fresh wounds upon Kim's body, only to be promptly regenerated. Despite the grim circumstances, a faint smile flickered across his lips, a feeble attempt to find humor in his plight. Yet, as the monster struck again, Kim's body fragmented once more, the cycle of regeneration continuing unabated. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and still, Kim remained trapped in this nightmarish dimension, his mind slowly eroding under the weight of endless repetition. Amidst the sea of corpses surrounding him, he grappled with a growing sense of hopelessness, his mental anguish overshadowing his physical resilience. Yet, amidst the despair, a glimmer of hope emerged as a notification heralded an increase in his vitality and modifications to his backup data. Though Kim's understanding of the process was limited, he grasped onto this sliver of optimism, however fleeting it may be. With renewed determination, Kim faced his status window, contemplating the significance of these modifications. Hope sparked within him as he dared to entertain the possibility of a resolution to his endless ordeal. Yet, his hopes were dashed as the notification confirmed that the underlying error remained unchanged, condemning him to an eternity within this forsaken realm. Resigned to his fate, Kim's lips curled into a hopeless smile as the monster approached once more, its claws poised to strike. In the face of insurmountable odds, he braced himself for yet another round of battle, his spirit battered but unbroken by the relentless onslaught. As Kim's desperate attempts to escape stretched into years, his futile struggles against the relentless monster became increasingly futile. Despite his efforts, the cycle of death and regeneration continued unabated, each iteration leaving him battered and exhausted. With each passing year, his physical attributes surged to astronomical levels, a testament to his unwavering resolve. Yet, these newfound powers offered little solace in the face of his eternal torment. Reflecting on his journey, Kim's thoughts drifted back to the first day of his confinement, when the ominous notification had declared the futility of his attempts to overcome the test monsters. As the years stretched on, his world became a haze of pain and despair, his memories of Earth fading into obscurity. Amidst the monotony of his existence, Kim's thoughts turned to the outside world, a distant realm beyond the confines of his holographic prison. Seeking solace in the hope of connection, he beseeched the system for information about the state of Earth. The system's response offered little comfort, revealing the stark reality of time's passage in this dimension. Stricken with a pang of longing, Kim remembered his mother's simple request for fried chicken, a poignant reminder of the life he had left behind. With a heavy heart, he lamented his inability to fulfill this promise, a small but tangible symbol of his lost humanity. As the monster once again descended upon him, Kim resigned himself to his fate, his mind consumed by the relentless march of time. In the depths of his despair, one question lingered, a haunting echo of his shattered existence. Why had this cruel fate befallen him? In a moment of defiance, Kim remained seated on the floor, his arms folded, as the monstrous entity closed in on him with deadly intent. As the creature extended its claw towards him, Kim's mind echoed with a single question, why? With each repeated inquiry, his frustration mounted, culminating in a furious outburst directed at the unseen forces orchestrating his torment. Ignoring the trivialities of the awakening trial, Kim's singular focus was on unraveling the mystery of his plight. Recalling his humble aspirations for a happy life, Kim's anger simmered as he reminisced about his days working at the convenience store. Amidst his seething resentment, the monster lurked behind him, poised to strike. With a surge of pent-up fury, Kim launched himself at the creature, delivering a powerful blow that reverberated through the chamber. Yet, as the years passed on Earth, an unexpected development unfolded. A crack appeared in the sky, signaling a catastrophic breach within the server. With a final, decisive punch, Kim shattered the illusion of his confinement, emerging from the holographic room into the open sky. Below him, the trial monster lay vanquished, its existence rendered obsolete by Kim's newfound liberation. As the wavy light emanated from his body, Kim stood tall, a beacon of defiance against the forces that sought to confine him. In that moment, he embraced the boundless potential of his awakening, ready to carve his destiny amidst the tumult of the unknown. After enduring a grueling 3,000-year trial, during which Kim attained the pinnacle of his abilities, he found himself standing in the sky, his eyes fluttering open to a world vastly changed. For millennia, he had harbored a singular thought, his longing to return to Earth and fulfill a simple request from his mother, to bring her fried chicken. As the notification of system synchronization flashed before him, Kim's heart quickened with anticipation. 10 years had passed on Earth since his departure, and he yearned to reunite with his family. However, his hopes were dashed when the system revealed the unavailability of the search engine in offline mode. Disheartened but undeterred, Kim descended to Earth, landing amid a city ravaged by destruction. Surveying the desolation, he frantically sought out his family home, only to be confronted by military personnel guarding the area. With a heavy heart, he listened as one of the soldiers informed him of the restricted status of the location. Kim stood in disbelief, grappling with the harsh reality of his return. Despite his incredible journey and newfound abilities, he found himself powerless in the face of bureaucratic barriers and the devastation wrought upon his home. Yet, within him burned a flicker of determination, a resolve to navigate the challenges ahead and uncover the truth behind the cataclysm that had befallen his world. Filled with shock and disbelief, Kim's world crumbled around him as he learned of the devastation that had befallen his neighborhood. In a daze, he confronted the soldier, demanding answers about the destruction and the fate of his loved ones. The soldier's grim revelation left Kim reeling, his mind unable to comprehend the magnitude of the tragedy. As the reality of the situation sank in, Kim's thoughts raced to his family, his heart heavy with dread at the possibility of their demise. The soldier's somber confirmation shattered any hope he had clung to, leaving him numb with grief and disbelief. Desperate for any shred of hope, Kim pressed the soldier for information about survivors and a haven. The soldier's hesitant response offered a glimmer of possibility, directing Kim towards a makeshift settlement where evacuees had sought refuge. Fueled by a mix of fear and determination, Kim seized upon this lifeline, His resolve hardened as he set off in search of his family. Ignoring the soldiers' warnings and the chaos around him, he raced towards the promised safety of the shanty town. Behind him, the soldiers exchanged worried glances, their fears mirrored in the urgent chatter of their radio. The looming threat of another dungeon break cast a shadow over their already troubled minds, the impending crisis adding another layer of uncertainty to an already unstable situation. As the emergency sector of the B neighborhood braced for an impending dungeon break, a bright wavy light pierced the sky, signaling the imminent threat. Amidst the chaos, military jeeps screeched to a halt, their occupants gathering around Lieutenant Colonel Hyung Jun, a figure of authority amidst the turmoil. With a cigarette dangling from his lips, Lieutenant Colonel Hyung Jun wasted no time in issuing orders, his voice commanding and resolute. He barked commands to secure the perimeter and called for reinforcements, his gaze fixed on the ominous light looming overhead. Frustration simmered beneath his composed exterior as he demanded answers about the delayed guild support. His fury boiled over as he railed against bureaucratic red tape, cursing the sluggish response that endangered countless lives in the shanty town. Amidst the tension, First Lieutenant Jai Yun Lee approached with a somber expression, seeking guidance in the face of impending disaster. Lieutenant Colonel Hyung Jun's response was sharp and uncompromising, his orders clear. Establish a defensive line and neutralize smaller threats while awaiting reinforcements. Yun Lee's apprehension was palpable as she voiced concerns about civilian casualties, but Hyung Jun's resolve remained unyielding. With lives hanging in the balance, he was prepared to make the tough decisions necessary to protect his people, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Lieutenant Colonel's sharp retort cut through the tense atmosphere, his words laced with frustration as he challenged Lieutenant Yun Lee's concerns. He berated her for hesitating, emphasizing the grim reality of the situation. Sacrificing a few, now to prevent greater losses later. His words stung, leaving Yun Lee speechless and uncertain as she grappled with the weight of his directive. Meanwhile, military personnel rallied around their commanding officer, their weapons at the ready as they prepared for the impending threat in Area B. Observing the commotion from a distance, Kim's curiosity mingled with concern as he questioned the sudden military presence and the urgency of their actions. Turning to the system for answers, he received a grim confirmation. A dungeon break was imminent in the B's neighborhood, mere minutes away. Fearing for his mother's safety, Kim's determination hardened as he resolved to brave the danger and enter the endangered area. Ignoring the warnings of the soldiers, he pressed forward, driven by the urgency of the impending disaster and the need to ensure his loved one's safety. However, his path was obstructed by one of the soldiers, who placed a restraining hand on his shoulder and urged him to retreat. Despite the soldier's insistence on evacuation, Kim's resolve remained unyielding as he stared defiantly ahead, determined to defy the odds and confront the looming threat head-on. As Kim stood defiantly between the soldiers, his anger and determination palpable, the atmosphere crackled with tension. The soldiers, taken aback by his boldness, faltered and stumbled backwards, their fear evident as they faced Kim's unwavering gaze. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel and Yun Lu remained engrossed in their discussion, unaware of the unfolding confrontation. Angered by the soldiers' interference, Kim demanded to know who had the authority to bar civilians from the area. His voice rang out with authority as he insisted on his right to be there, heedless of the soldiers' attempts to intimidate him. Lieutenant Colonel, alerted to the situation, issued a commanding order for Kim to be removed immediately. Soldiers swiftly surrounded Kim, their weapons trained on him as they awaited further instruction. Despite the soldiers' intimidation tactics, Kim stood his ground, his resolve unshaken. With a steely glare, he commanded the soldier blocking his path to step aside, his unwavering determination sending a ripple of unease through the ranks. Yun Lu, observing the standoff from a distance, was surprised to hear one of the soldiers identify Kim as a player. The emergence of the wavy purple light from the sky added to the sense of foreboding, signaling the imminent dungeon break. As the sky shattered with a deafening clang, the soldiers recoiled in fear, their apprehension mounting at the ominous portent. With uncertainty hanging heavy in the air, they braced themselves for the impending danger, their eyes fixed on the enigmatic figure of Kim as he pressed on toward the danger zone. As the monsters poured out of the sky, panic gripped the soldiers, their courage waning in the face of the overwhelming threat. Trembling with fear, they watched helplessly as the creatures spread throughout the area, roaring with fury. One soldier, overcome with dread, voiced his despair, questioning how they could hope to defeat such formidable foes with mere guns. His companion, equally shaken, grimly acknowledged the futility of their situation, recognizing the dire consequences of engaging the monsters head-on. Amidst the chaos, Lieutenant Yun Li remained silent, her mind grappling with the gravity of the situation. With no sign of guild support and the imminent danger posed by the monsters, she felt a sense of hopelessness creeping in. In a desperate attempt to flee the unfolding disaster, Yun Li turned and ran towards Area B, where the monsters were launching their attack with ferocious intensity. Ignoring the calls of her fellow soldiers, she pressed on, driven by fear and the instinct to survive. Meanwhile, Kim pressed forward, ascending the stairs with grim determination. Frustration gnawed at him as he confronted yet another dungeon, his fatigue and exasperation evident in his clenched teeth and weary expression. As he climbed, two monstrous creatures descended upon him from the nearby rooftops, their roars echoing through the air. Unfazed, Kim swiftly dispatched the first monster with a powerful punch, sending it crashing to the ground below. But as he turned to face the second monster, a towering behemoth with multiple heads, Kim braced himself for the inevitable confrontation. With a defiant shout, he confronted the creature head-on, determined to overcome whatever obstacles stood in his way. With a mighty blow, Kim sent the monster hurtling backwards, its massive form crashing to the ground with earth-shattering force. The impact was so powerful that the ground beneath them fractured, revealing the extent of the destruction wrought by the dungeon break. As the monsters swarmed towards Kim, their fury palpable, he met their aggression with fierce determination. With each blow, he unleashed a flurry of devastating attacks, striking down his adversaries with precision and strength. Despite the overwhelming odds, Kim fought on, his movements fluid and calculated. With each strike, he felled multiple monsters, his blows landing with lethal accuracy. Even as the formidable dragon monster appeared, Kim remained undaunted. With a single powerful blow, he shattered the creature's defenses, sending its massive form hurtling towards its companions. As the pieces of the dragon monster rained down around him, Kim leapt into the air, his fist connecting with the remaining monsters with devastating force. With each strike, he left a trail of destruction in his wake, his resolve unshakable. Meanwhile, Yun Li watched in awe from the top of the stairs, her eyes wide with disbelief at the sight before her. She had never witnessed such raw power and skill, and she couldn't help but feel a sense of admiration for Kim's unwavering determination. As Kim continued to battle against the horde of monsters, Yun Li knew that she had to act quickly. With a renewed sense of purpose, she rushed forward to join the fray, determined to lend her support to Kim in whatever way she could. As the citizens trembled in fear, Yun Li's urgent command spurred them into action. With a sense of impending danger, they wasted no time in heeding her warning. Gathering their wits, the citizens quickly moved to evacuate the area, their fear giving way to a desperate determination to escape the wrath of the monstrous creature. Meanwhile, Kim stood his ground, his eyes locked on the boss monster before him. With each step, he closed the distance between them, his determination unwavering despite the looming threat. As the boss monster roared in fury and charged towards the helpless citizens, Kim's resolve only strengthened. With a fierce determination burning in his heart, he knew that he was their only hope. With a swift movement, Kim leapt into action, his fists poised to strike. As he closed in on the boss monster, he unleashed a barrage of powerful blows, each one aimed at bringing down the formidable creature before it could harm anyone else. With each strike, Kim's strength and resolve shone through, his determination to protect the innocent driving him forward. Despite the overwhelming odds, he fought on, his blows landing with deadly accuracy. As the boss monster reeled from the onslaught, Kim pressed his advantage, his movements fluid and precise. With a final, decisive blow, he struck the creature down, its monstrous form crumbling before him. As the boss monster fell, defeated at last, a wave of relief washed over the citizens, their gratitude palpable. With Kim's help, they escaped the clutches of certain doom, their lives spared thanks to his heroic actions. As the lady and her daughter ran to safety, thanking Kim for saving them, he watched them disappear into the distance before turning his attention back to the fallen monster. With a sense of grim determination, Kim stood over the defeated creature, its monstrous form now motionless on the ground. He knew that the danger was far from over, and there was still much to be done to ensure the safety of those around him. Taking a moment to catch his breath, Kim surveyed the area, his mind racing with thoughts of what to do next. Despite the chaos and destruction surrounding him, he remained steadfast in his resolve to protect the innocent and defeat the monsters threatening their lives. With a heavy sigh, Kim gathered his strength and prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The battle may have been won for now, but the fight against the dungeon break was far from over, and Kim knew that he would need to stay vigilant to ensure the safety of everyone in the area. As he stood there, a glimmer of hope flickered in Kim's eyes. Despite the overwhelming odds, he was determined to see this through to the end and emerge victorious against the forces of darkness that threatened their world. With courage in his heart and determination in his soul, Kim prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that he would do whatever it took to protect those he cared about. As Kim stood there, lost in memories of his family and feeling the weight of 3,000 years of struggle, the monster roared behind him, breaking him out of his reverie. With determination in his heart, he silently called upon the system to activate his abilities and physical enhancements. Feeling a surge of power coursing through him, Kim turned to face the monstrous threat looming behind him. With renewed resolve, he clenched his fists and prepared to confront the creature head-on. As the monster unleashed its attack, hurling magic balls toward him, Kim moved with lightning speed, dodging the projectiles with agile grace. With each movement, he felt his strength and agility amplified by his awakened abilities, empowering him to face the danger before him. With a focused gaze, Kim charged toward the monster, his movements swift and precise. As he closed the distance, he unleashed a flurry of powerful strikes, aiming for the creature's weak points with pinpoint accuracy. With each blow, the monster recoiled, its roars of fury echoing through the air. But Kim remained undeterred, pressing forward with unwavering determination. As the battle raged on, Kim's abilities shone brightly, his every move a testament to his newfound strength and resolve. With each strike, he drew closer to victory, his determination unwavering in the face of adversity. And as the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, Kim stood victorious, the defeated monster lying motionless at his feet. With a sense of accomplishment, he looked toward the horizon, knowing that his journey was far from over, but feeling confident in his ability to face whatever challenges lay ahead.